Hi, Phil here. Forgive the lighting. I got a light right here on the side. It's not doing me much. Uh, yeah, if I look a little exhausted, I am. My girlfriend we went to the hospital this morning. She was going through some abdominal pains. I mean, really, really painful. And, believe it or not, this is the first time she's ever had to spend overnight in a hospital. She's never spent a day in a whole day, a night in a hospital. Um, I've been there since with her since this morning, and I'm just got to tomorrow I'm definitely going in to make sure she's okay. In the meantime, um, I'd like to thank just some guy for posting a video that about Mark Waid's letter that's printed in bleeding cool. Now, I've made a point in a previous video that there's like games journals pros, there's comics journals pros. I'm telling you, it's out there. You have the same kind of people doing the same bullshit. But I want you to consider something um, where Mark Waid is saying harassment in this industry towards young creators of gender and color and LGBTQ plus creators just peaked. Something awful has happened, and we need to talk. I just got back from Baltimore Comic Con, which was its usual one of the best conventions in the nation. Mark Nathan and his crew are courteous, attentive, and most importantly, terrifically. You gotta bear with me right now. My computer is kind of old and a little slow. Terrifically sensitive to the safety concerns of some of the creators and fans who feel threatened by the current climate, elevating their worries. Mark and his team are knights. White knights, of course. Over the past couple of weeks, a disappointingly large number of younger creators have been reaching out to me about harassment from angry fringe fans, With that in mind, the best, most worthwhile moments of the convention came from walking the floor, talking and listening, helping raise awareness of how bad harassment has become. Awareness both among fans and among my Okay, I gotta stop there. This guy's a total hypocrite. Mark Waid, I liked your stuff. I loved Kingdom Come, but dude, you're a hypocrite. You're a complete and utter fucking hypocrite. Don't give this crap that all these people are coming towards you. In this letter, he basically points out that all these people are coming towards you, that they're afraid, and yet you can't tell us who's afraid. And you talk of harassment. Let me tell you who. You want to know who what harassment looks like? Ask Colleen Doran. If y'all don't know who she is, she did a Distant Soil. She used to do Legion of Superheroes. She did a host of other comics. Just Wikipedia her. But I want you also to Google Colleen Doran and Walter Rose. That will send chills down your spine. She was also featured in a show on Discovery Channel called Stalk, Someone Was Watching. This woman went through harassment. It wasn't somebody who said she sucked, your story sucked. No, 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 no. This was a creepy ass guy that did shit for years, like almost 20 if I'm correct. To the point where this guy would actually call editors and say, "Don't hire her. She's a prostitute," and shit like that. This is real harassment. Calling Heather Antos a lousy writer is not harassment, Mark Waid. It is not harassment, Mark Waid. Let's get back to this real quick. I'm just going to jump ahead. The folks I talked to, many of them were with big megaphones, some of them store owners, and a couple of well intentioned YouTube commenters eager to distance themselves from personal attack ones, are all ready to redouble their support to the younger pros who feel. Like I said, my computer's a little slow. It's like still reloading on this thing. Who feel, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I definitely got to get a new computer at some point. Who definitely feel unwelcomed or targeted, regardless of gender or race or background. We work together on some positive actions we can take in the days and weeks to come. That's no silver bullet, but we've been assured that that is a step forward. Translation: you're an SJW, you double down. You're still going to ignore the people, the fans, who are trying to tell you that your political browbeating is bullshit. He talks about transparency. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know whether to laugh at some of this stuff or to cry at what this guy's talking about. But at the end of the day, Mr. Waid, stop it. Stop doubling down. Stop it. Actually, no, he's probably not even going to see this. This is my channel. I'm just expressing what I feel. I'm not as big as Diversity in Comics. I'm not as big as Captain Cummings. I'm not as big as just some guy. I'm not as big as Micah Curtis. I'm just a lonely comic book reader who's had enough of this shit. We've had enough. I mean, when Squirrel Girl gets a shitload of Eisner Awards, another comics get Eisner Awards, which nobody even reads or have read it and thought this is garbage. I mean, where does that leave us as connoisseurs of comic books? Let me put you this way, and I've kind of discovered this. I'm going to give you guys an analogy, and I want you to keep this in mind. Imagine somebody coming up to you, and they say, for $40, I'm going to cook you a dinner, a filet mignon with a russet potato, with creme fraiche on said russet potato and chives. And with all that, they're also going to give you uh, another vegetable of you. We'll say asparagus in hollandaise sauce, or whatever vegetable that you dig. That's very, very expensive, and that's you get the drift. And they tell you they're going to make it in their special way. Now you're going, wow, this is awesome for $40. That sounds pretty cool. So the guy says, well, just let me use your kitchen and prepare it. So he says, but don't you come in. Don't you come in. So you stand out in the kitchen. You're waiting. You're salivating. You're hoping this is going to be awesome. And he comes out with a cloche. A plate with a cloche. And he sets it on the table. He says, bon appetit. He lifts up the cloche. Now, to your shock and horror, you see everything he said that he was going to put down there: the steak, the potato, the asparagus. You see all that. You see it all there. But you also see the rust shavings from a rusty nail. You see the pellets from a rat and a fetid piece of eggplant. All on the plate. And you look, and you're like totally shocked. You look at him, and you say, wait a minute, I paid $40 for this? This is disgusting. This is stupid. And he looks at you, and he thumbs his nose and says, well, you're just not sophisticated to understand what I prepared for you. That is what these people are doing. This is what social justice is doing. I said it before. Uh, never mind. I'm not even going to do that again. Whew. Sorry, I'm a little hyped up. But that's the analogy I want you to think about each time these people put out their product. That's what they're giving you. They're promising you something great, but in the end, they're giving you shit. Think about it. And the fact that Mark Waid is doing just like in Gamergate. Remember in Gamergate they said, "Oh well, to cover their asses, misogyny, you don't like diversity, LBGTQ, black, women." This is what this guy's doing. He's using all this. Do I look like a white supremacist to you, Mark Waid? Because I don't like what I see in comics. I love this weird metric where also you can't write about a black character. You have to put a black writer in to write about a black character. Okay, that's okay. Let's go by that metric. Oh, guess what? Ta-Nehisi Coates can't write Captain America because he's not white. Let me get down here. Sorry if I'm jumping ahead on this thing, but get back to this Mark Waid thing. So, with more clarity, the actual problem that so many younger or career vulnerable creators, career vulnerable translation, they got into this job without really knowing what the fuck they're doing. Uh, keep speaking to me about isn't YouTube videos a complaint about a black girl in Iron Man armor or how Marvel did a story that turned contemporary Captain America into a Nazi. They're not all the ones that scream in all caps. Uh, okay, I'm jumping around here. Again, my computer's all shitty here. Yeah, you're proud to be a progressive. The actual problem is that a large number of younger creators and professional staffers in the industry, the diversity hires who didn't know comics from anything, basically they're all trying to get a job at the Guardian or Huffington Post, or maybe even get a gig on MSNBC or CNN, or become some pundit on some damn TV show on a mainstream media. They're being harassed repeatedly. Again, he's not naming names. He's not telling us who's being harassed. He's not telling us this. We don't know, and that's the part that really bugs the shit out of me. Give us some names. Tell us who's doing what. Oh, that's right. Because if you did give us names of who's doing this harassing, you'll probably get your dumbass sued. Uh, I'm gonna give up on this computer. I'm probably gonna throw it out the window or something. Oh. In this article, he talks about people who were receiving death threats. Someone was going to told she was going to be burned to death. Yeah, really. Who? Who was going to be? Who's getting the threats, and who made the threats? Let's find out. Can't do that again. If he threw out a name, he's going to get sued. I love the fact that these guys they there's where's this part? There's not long ago, one of my friends had something terrible happen to them because of all this. Which friend? At their request, I can't talk about it right now. I can't. I don't know. It always reminds me of something Harlan Ellison said about those old detective movies where some guy calls on the phone to the detective. You know, he says, "Hey, I know who the killer is," and he says, "Really? Who's the killer?" And he says, "Oh, I can't tell you right now. You have to come down to the pier at, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning." When, of course, when the guy gets down there to do who's supposed to tell him gets killed. But I love it when Harlan Ellison said, "It's a telephone. Tell me who the damn killer is, so I can find out." So, geez. Not long ago, one of my friends. Okay, I'm sorry. Skip over that. Except my computer's on the slow side. One of the things about these bleeding things like bleeding cool is that they have all this stuff on here that slows your computer down to the utmost. Okay, you may choose not to believe me, which I do not, but you always have to have been truthful and transparent and straightforward with everyone at every moment of every day for the last 35 years. Dude, you are not being truthful with us. You're making up stories about harassment and that crap. They are legitimately frightened of harassers who threaten to come and find them at conventions, at stores. Yes, this is coming from the same cat who wants to beat up diversity and comics. Yeah, like I said, I'm jumping all over the place on this one, so bear with me, people. Maybe I'll do a live stream. It's been a while since I did a live stream. Let's see. Criticism of work is fine with me. Of the work is fine. I'm sorry. Criticism of the work itself is fine, but no reasonable person would fail to draw the line at direct personal threats and attacks on gender and race and orientation. Nobody is doing that. Nobody is threatening people on there because of their gender. Again, this is Gamergate all fucking over again. Oh my goodness. These people, they are. When I hear people say that SJWs always double down, they say double down. This is quadruple downing. This is just bizarre. This is this. Uh, okay, let me get back to this. Yeah, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this article, but that little circle on my uh, computer is just still turning because it's still loading the page. I hate these page loading things because they're just an annoyance. All right, I know it. I believe in the people who believe in me, so I'm asking for your help, not to mob up, not to attack, not to confront those no good those. Sorry, which is again. So I'm asking for your help, not to mob up, not to attack, not to confront. That does no good. Again, this is the guy who wanted to start a fight with diversity in comics. These harassers feed on attention and they need to be starved of attention. They need to be drowned out. I'm asking you for your help to change the signal to noise ratio. Well, you know what? The signal to noise ratio, here's the thing. You guys have the biggest noise. Okay? You guys have the biggest noise. Because we're asking you to stop using the LGBTQ community, the black community, women, as your damn shield. All right. Comment all day long, yeah, wherever you can, to show that being bullied, that those being bullied, that we have their back. Again, saying that your story sucks is not a bully. Being bullied, that's just criticism. You know, I remember talking about writing a story, and I heard a friend of mine said, "No, that's not. You're missing this and this and this." That wasn't bullying. He was just being critical. I was like, "Oh, okay. I see where you're getting." And he gave me citation. He says, "No, I suggest you look at this, 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 this. Do some research. Look at this stuff so you know what you're talking about." That's all. Again, it's not criticism. To give you, I can tell you one thing. I've heard many people point this out, be it just some guy in Captain Cummings. You guys have pointed out on numerous occasions that these people do not read the source material. I mean, America Chavez from this utopian parallel. Coincidentally, if she's from a utopian parallel, I'm just trying to figure something out. Where you're in a different universe, different rules, the whole nine. Why would Spanish be the dominant language? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And I've heard it pointed out that most of these writers, they're doing therapy sessions for themselves. Iceman coming out. That's some guy's personal story of coming out. Gabrielle Rivera. That's her personal story. All these things are personal stories. I think whatever therapist they've gone to, they need to get their money back because they didn't do a damn good job. Okay? And I love it. Here we go. Back to this. Oh, one, show your support. Share this piece far and wide. Comment all day long, wherever you can. I'm going to comment myself. To show that those being bullied, we have their backs. And do it tomorrow. And do it the day after. And keep doing it. It makes a difference to the people who need us. If you reject bigotry, misogyny, racism, reminder that you notice how these guys put this shit in there? Bigotry, misogyny, and racism. See, that's the shield. That's the shield. That's the damn shield. Because they have nothing else to defend what they've been saying. Oh boy, the positivity chemicals, not hate. Like I said, it's just kind of ironic on this one. Uh, let's see. Two, please, pro or fans, start championing positivity in comics, not hate. Established pros, myself included, have really tamping down on the instinct to push back on social media, even when really, even when it's actually brutally personal and vicious. Really, again, this is why I call him a hypocrite. This is why he's a hypocrite. Like I said, this computer's kind of slow. Champion positivity in comics, not hate. Talk about what you love. Well, we are championing positivity in comics. We're not talking about hate. We're talking about we love comics. We love the characters. Taking a character and twisting him into something because you want to tell your personal story of the of how you grew up and the pain you felt. Lord knows you guys have enough money to see a therapist. I know Max Visaggio is pretty fucking violent. Yeah, listening to the tweets that this guy, gal, uh, puts out. Let's see. There are hundreds and hundreds of comics publishers every month, and if your favorite one hits a rough patch and generally start, they're hitting a rough patch because they keep hiring people who don't know what they're writing. What else is here? Harassment to the point where professionals are pulling out of conventions. Which ones? Which ones? I want to know which ones are pulling out. The ones that suck at writing, or the I don't know. Empathy is in short supply, but even I'm sorry if I'm skipping. Bear with me. But if you're still skeptical, it doesn't matter. Not if you're good people. Consider just as no one has the right to tell us what we do or don't have a right to be angry or frustrated about. Of course, you have the right to do this, be angry and frustrated, but we don't when we see our favorite characters turned into ridiculous virtue signaling harpies. Let's go down a little bit more. It said, "Yeah, if I'm apologizing a lot, I'm terribly sorry." Yeah, this. Oh man, this video is going really long. Would have been shorter if this damn thing stops loading. If you're happy, you respect the grief and the joy. If we don't, I say, man, I love it. He talks about empathy and which is like, really, dude. This is no, no. I'm surrounded by a lot of good, concerned people. Translation: I'm surrounded in my echo chamber. I feel comfortable in my echo chamber. Most of whom are smarter and more aware than I am. Yeah, they all went to college, studied the same crap, and well, let's see. Anger and hate that is hurt. Again, you guys have been tossing out the hate and the anger whenever we asked, "What the hell are you doing?" Oh boy. Uh, Trying to again scroll down to see the rest of this. Well, that's his basic. I think at some point he mentioned something about how in the current political climate. I think that was in another letter where in the current political climate, people are coming out of the woodwork to tell how they really feel. When I thought that's kind of ironic considering he's the guy that started doing it to first. You know. Like I said, if Mark Waid really wants to know what harassment looks like, I suggest he talks to Colleen Doran. Like I said, if you saw the shit that would happen to her, it would scare you. Mark Waid, please get a grip. It is stop using myself, the LGBTQ community, women as your shield. Get away from your echo chamber. look in the real world. I've said this before, I'll say it again. If you want to find out what the people who did not vote for your candidate think, go out and talk to them. Actually talk to them. Or just sit down and listen. Find out why they think what they do. And try to be as open minded as possible. Because after all, that's the one thing that you and your ilk keep telling the rest of us, to be open minded. Well, it's time you become open minded. I know comics are your life. It's been my life. I've read them since I was well over 40 years. But it's just so weird that 70 plus years of world building and legacy has been torn down in the past 5 years by people who honestly don't know what they're writing about. Like everything else that's been invaded, video games, and it's so funny. It began slowly, and most people didn't really notice it all that much. You know, it began in television shows where certain jabs were constantly thrown, and we just thought, oh, it's a given. Then it crept into science fiction, slowly but surely, when suddenly people were winning awards, the Hugo Awards, and you were thinking, okay. But then it became more blatant. It crept into video games, and it definitely now has crept into comic books. Now, the comic book crash is coming. It's coming. It, there's no doubt about it. It's coming. It's going to be devastating to a lot of people. Marvel is going to lose a lot of money, and I think Disney Disney will lose a lot of money in that process, and I think they're going to react too late. DC will probably take a hit, but they just might survive. And if DC is smart, they'll look at these writers, they'll look at what happened to Marvel and say, wait a minute, the same thing happened to Marvel might happen to us if we hired these people. IDW kind of figured it out. Dark Horses kind of figured it out. And a few other people have probably figured it out. That just because these small, tiny minority of angry, far left individuals screech the loudest doesn't mean that they're the majorities. They're not the ones who buy it. They're not the ones who buy your product. I've pointed this out before. There's about the whole Rush Limbaugh thing when the whole Sandra Fluke, whatever the hell her that crazy broad's name was. When all of a sudden you had these people pull out, and then those the sponsors pulled out of a show, and what was really funny is that those sponsors lost revenue. In fact, a couple of those sponsors actually had to shut down because a lot of people said, you know, if you're not going to stand by them, are you going to stand by us? Screw you, I want my money back. And they were left hanging. They had no principle. They could have recovered if there was enough SJWs and rabid leftists to cover the bases, but they weren't there. They weren't there. I've gone on long enough. Um, Probably this um, Friday, I'm going to do a review of Orville episode 2 and 3 and 4. Unfortunately, I haven't seen episode 3 yet. Things have been very hectic for the past week, and like I said, it's been quite exhausting on my end. So I'm going to try and do a review of what I think of episode 2. Actually, let me put it this way. I'm going to start with I will do an review of episode 2. Overall, I I can tell you one thing. I related to. Wait a minute. Did I do episode 2 already? Oh, forget it. Again, you can tell I'm tired. Like I said, I'll do 1, 3, and 4. Yeah, I think this is going to show up on Mr. Matoker's internet insanity. All right, I'm Filter. I'm out of here. Rate this video if you like. Leave a comment below. And until then, stay safe out there. Filter out.